Was it the voice? Was it the fire burning in me? All of the noise turned into choirs of harmony. Left me with the pieces of forever that you broke. The six you left me low. I've been high.
Hello friends, welcome back to another video, or if you are new here, welcome. In today's video, we're going to be doing some cooking, some cleaning, some laundry. I'm going to put together some curtains for the boys' bedroom. But before we get to all that, we're going to start outside. Temperatures here have been getting into the 100s, and it is already like in the 80s when I wake up each morning. So we're going to start outside before it gets too hot and get things done around this back patio. While our air conditioner just kicked off, I wanted to share this little, I don't know if it's really a hack, but I have one of these. This is a pot holder, like a plant pot holder, and it has legs, it's tall. I got that, I think my mom actually gave it to me from one of her friends that was moving or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, it works really well to hold pool noodles, and then I just prop this in the center of it because it also holds really well. And then this again is another plant holder. It has plastic in the bottom, and I usually will stack the goggles up on the handles so people can easily grab them and not have to dig through. And then we have these like little, I don't know, noodle gun things for the pool, the little bubble machines. They kind of just hang right on the side. So I know if you have a pool, it's kind of sometimes hard to manage like all the floaties and all the little life vests, stuff like that. Something just, oh, a light. Anyway, so it can be kind of hard to manage because you have so much stuff. We have this back garage over here that holds a lot of things, but these are things that are constantly getting into. The kids constantly drag these things out. So for them to be readily available, but just not laying on the patio, it is super nice to have something like this. I don't know. I know that there's like a ton of Pinterest hacks where you can make holders and stuff out of like PVC pipes, but this is something that I started doing this year, and it has really worked out very well. We have little hooks here to hang towels on. I have those throughout the fence all the way around. And then we have little kids. These are actually really worn. These are puddle jumpers. You can get them at Walmart for less than $15. And they work really well for kids that aren't really that great in the pool, can't swim, or maybe they're still learning. Theo will sometimes wear these, but he has started being able to swim this year. So anyway, these are really great, and I just hang them along the pool, or the, what is this, a post for the fence. So I just hang them along, and then the towels fit nicely in between. Anyway, I just thought I would share because I know that for years now I have looked for different ways of storing these things, and this year it was completely life-changing. And that sounds so stupid, but it really was, because this stuff is always all over the place and it always drives me insane. So to have it like this is super nice. So little hack for you. I don't know if that's a hack or not, but anyway, it works out for us. This is also something that I've shared repeatedly, and I have to actually bring this in because I need to pick up this whole area. But I will also take the remaining towels. So if we're gonna have guests over, or if my kids or we're going to swim, I'll hang the stuff up on the hooks, like the towels and stuff like that. But I will also bring this basket out, and all summer long we have this basket. I don't know if you can hear my neighbor's dogs howling. But I'll have this basket out that I just keep all of our towels rolled up in. So straight from the wash, I will dry them obviously and then roll them up, put them in here, and just carry this basket out. Usually I carry it back in at night, but last night we were swimming and the kids were all, you know, it was a whole nighttime swim, so that's always exciting for them, but I forgot to bring them in. So I'm going to bring them in, kind of shake them out. We have little critters, creepy crawlies, and I want to make sure there is none in there because that will totally freak me out if I go to reach for one and there's a spider or a lizard in it. So I'll shake them out and then bring them back out here before anybody comes to swim. Anyway, I'm gonna go around and get to all the cleaning and tidying up in the back. There's really not a lot, but I just want to get to the garden and out here before it gets unbearably hot, which it is already creeping to 100. So it is really hot already, but before the sun gets too high and it gets really hot, I'm going to get to this area first and then we'll move inside. I'm going to be moving a couple of plants back here. This one in particular, I'm going to be moving, I think it's a elephant ear. I did not realize because I thought they got really big like the ones in our front yard, but this one is super small. I got it as a gift, so I'm not exactly sure what kind it is. It came unlabeled, but I think it's getting too much sun, so I'm going to relocate it. This plant also seems to be getting too much sun, so I'm going to be moving it into the shade. It does kind of perk up after I water it, so it gets really tall and I'm not really sure where to put it. It's lemongrass and I got it specifically to help with like mosquitoes and stuff, so I want to keep it on our patio, but I need to move it out of the sun. I don't really like this here, but I'm going to put it there at least for a little bit before I find a spot that I think I need to move it to. I think it's getting way too much sun and it's kind of like frying it. So I'm going to move it to get it out of the sun a little bit. I also need to spend a little bit more time cleaning it up, but right now it is just too hot. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait. I did water it really well. I moved it here out of the sun, so I'm gonna leave it here until I can figure out a better spot for it. But do you see these vines? They are kind of going wild, but I love it. So this is that purple vine plant that I got from my mother-in-law. They came as seeds and they're just huge. It is really hard to see, but there's actually a good 2 feet that has grown above the pergola, so super cool. They're wrapping around this just like I wanted them to do. It does add a little bit more privacy, a little bit more shade, and I've noticed the ones in the garden are starting to have little purple blooms and little purple beans on them. So pretty cool. I think my husband and I are both in agreement that we're gonna have to plant these every year. So this was interesting. I didn't even think of this, but there is one that intertwined with this really old wind chime that I've had. It has grown up the string for it and throughout, so whenever it starts to die back at the end of the season, I'll have to cut that. So anyway, but I wanted to share our vines. I have been doing my best to keep up with them and like weaving them in and out, but they are growing so quick that sometimes it's hard to actually keep up, and then they get a little bit more ahead than I think they are. So it was wrapped around this cord that goes to our fan, but my husband, he kind of unwrapped it and put it towards the back. So it gets a little out of hand, but as long as every couple of days we're coming out here and just like weaving it and directing it where it needs to go, it is, I don't know, it's incredible. This is probably by far my favorite plant of the year. Super cool, and something that we will have to continuously plant every year because I don't believe it's going to come back. I can't remember if she said it was a perennial in some places or it's just an annual everywhere, but either way, if it doesn't come back, I think we're going to end up replanting this next year because it's been way too cool to not have every year. This whole area under our pergola used to be an oval shaped hot tub, like a really large one. So this whole area is uneven, and that puddle that I just brushed away, it is actually where the drain used to be. They covered it up and you can kind of see it. They put on like a thick outdoor paint and you can kind of see it coming through, but right there it holds water when people splash, or if there's a big rain or something, it has a little puddle. So I always sweep that up to try to keep it clean, but it's an odd thing because it is totally uneven there. We used to have a table there, and it's hard to keep a table because it's uneven and it would constantly like wobble and stuff. And I'm really unsure of what to even do in the area as far as making it even without having to do like a whole thing of concrete or a whole, big thing. So I'm trying to keep it simple, but yeah, that is why there's a puddle there. And just know you can't really tell on camera that it is uneven, but you can absolutely in person see where the entire hot tub laid. So it's a little funny, but anyway, I am moving on. I'm picking up the rest of the stuff, and I always vacuum this area, which embarrasses my husband, funny enough, but I don't know, a vacuum works really well. So I'm vacuuming that area while my husband is not home because I'm trying to save him the embarrassment. And I am doing one of the boys' bedding today, so I tried to spread it out throughout the week, and this is Theo's day to get his bedding done, so I'm hanging them to dry inside, and then I have the sheets going in the dryer to finish up. But one thing I have been wanting to do, and it's kind of just been on my back burner for a long time, is switching the curtains in the boys' room. I don't even know where the curtains came from that they have in there, but it does not even fit their big bay window. So to close them at night, really, it's not, there's no purpose in it because it doesn't close all the way. So I have this bolt of fabric that I got from a fabric warehouse years ago. This fabric is the same fabric that I use to make the curtains that hang in our living room area. So this is the same exact thing. I am just making curtains for the boys' room out of the same fabric. And I don't even know how many yards were on this bolt when I got it, but there was a lot, and it was also like a double rolled. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was really a wide yardage of fabric. So, and it was only $1.50 for each yard. So I got it a couple years ago from a fabric warehouse, and I've been using it on various projects throughout. You can kind of see in the background behind me the curtains that are hanging, and it is the exact same fabric. So I'm using the remainder of the bolt to make the boys' curtains, and they were actually really excited. Theo's here. they aren't as used to me sewing as my older two were. My older two grew up with me filling orders and sewing every day for like 12 hours a day. So that is something they're completely used to, and the younger boys, they're not. So Theo was very interested, and he was asking about the different bobbins of thread and just various things about the needle and how the machine works. But they were really excited to get these new curtains hung, and as you can see, so these are the old curtains, and they do not stretch the whole way, so I don't know why we even hung them. But here are the new ones, and they look rather thin. However, they're really not, and the boys ended up closing them and having this whole like game in the dark with their curtains. So they were super happy, and I was excited to get through this bolt of fabric and to also finally have curtains that fit their window. We are finally moving on to everybody's favorite part, laundry. Just kidding, this is like the worst part, I swear. I have been doing better lately. I talked about this in my last video, I think it was. I hate doing laundry, and we are a family of 6, so it literally never ends. And then with having a pool and it being summertime, there's constantly towels and just bathing suits and just everything. It never ends around here. So I am getting better about it though, where I pile it on my bed and I make sure that I get through it. I put on a show that I enjoy watching, and it makes it a little more bearable. For our family size, we do about a load of clothes each day, and then we also will have like an extra load, usually of either bedding or towels or just various things from around the house. So about 2 loads of clothes each day. And then I will, for the most part, do about 2 loads of whatever it is, clothes or blankets that I have to fold and put away each day. So it has been way more manageable, and it has not been a huge mountain of laundry that I'm getting through. But yeah, it is. It's still, I still hate it. I do have to say though that I recently decluttered a couple of our closets. We did my daughter's, my oldest son's, and my side of our closet. And that has helped quite a bit with laundry. I still need to do my younger son's closet. They grow like weeds, so they really need their stuff gone through. And a really good time to do that is back to school. Now, I know that we homeschool, but we still kind of go through the same stuff that public school kids go through too. We will still go through our clothes to make sure that we are ready for winter and the fall. So I make sure that, they have all the pants and sweatpants and all that stuff that fits going into a new season, and I need to do that still this year. So I do need to do that, and that will hopefully help cut down on how much I'm washing and going through as well with laundry. But I love having all that decluttered, and I keep having to remind myself not to add more to it. It is so hard when you're like, I don't know, I went to TJ Maxx yesterday and I was just like, oh, I love this, I want this, but I ended up leaving with nothing, and I honestly was so proud because I'm like, I don't need any of that. I need to focus more on decluttering and not adding to the problem constantly, because I don't want to have just closets full of things to take care of and stuff all around the house to have to take care of. I always say the more stuff you have, the more stuff you have to take care of, and it is really hard to keep up with all that, especially if you have 4 kids, and I mean, it's a lot. So I am trying to do my best to not add to that also. I am moving on to making dinner for the evening, and I know that I sound really crazy whenever I'm about to tell you what we're having, because I was just complaining about the heat, but hear me out. So I am making, which I don't really know if it has an exact name, but it's basically like ground beef and dumplings. this was a phenomenal recipe, definitely one to keep in mind when you are making your fall food or your winter comfort food. This is a great recipe to have, but I'm making it because I didn't end up going grocery shopping. And so have you seen the show Chopped, where you have to, like, they're given various random ingredients and they have to make legit meals out of them? And obviously their meals are a lot fancier than the ones that I am making, but that is kind of what my approach was for the week. We came back from our little vacation in Illinois and I needed to go grocery shopping, but I was tired from traveling and I really just did not want to go that evening. Well, that evening ended up turning into like every day, and then by the time I got to Wednesday, I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna play this one out and we're gonna go the rest of the week. So I was just making meals out of the stuff that I had on hand, and this was a random recipe that I came across, and I just made do with what I had all week long, and it was honestly kind of fun. So it started as like an accident because I had not gone grocery shopping, and then turned into like a whole week of homemade Chopped. And at the end of the week, my daughter and I, we were talking, and I'm like, man, I really should have gotten Kyle involved on this whole Chopped thing, because he doesn't know how to cook. And so I thought that would have been hilarious to hear the food that he had come up with. So next time, whenever we do that, I might get him involved too and see what interesting things we come up with. So anyway, this ended up, it was more like a soup. I'm not sure if that really was what it was supposed to be, but I probably added more liquid than what it called for. Anyway, this ended up being, it was like, the chicken and dumplings, but you used ground beef instead, and I liked how that made a little bit of a difference than the norm. So I will continue to make this, and if you are looking for the recipe, I will put it down below in the description box for you. And as per the usual on my channel, I did add a variety of different things because I just didn't have what the recipe called for. So I will put the actual recipe down below, and then I will include all the substitutions I made. If you have made it this far in today's video, you are the real MVP. I appreciate you guys so much for supporting me and my channel and my family on YouTube. It means so much to me. But if you have made it this far in today's video, leave me a comment below letting me know what you are making tonight for dinner, or what you're having if you're going out. I love hearing all of your guys' ideas. You guys share some of the best things. So go ahead and leave a comment below sharing what you are making tonight or having tonight for dinner. Now, the recipe that I shared below for this, it included like a prepared biscuit mix for the dumplings. However, I don't have that on hand. This is Chopped, so I am doing them from scratch. And I have made dumplings a handful of times on my channel, but this was a new recipe that I was trying out, and I really liked it. I think I ended up having to add more water than what the original recipe called for, but that's kind of normal when you're making various like doughs and stuff. So I did use a little bit more, and you'll just, if you are making this, you'll have to kind of just see how it goes, and if it is too dry, you'll add a little bit more of water or whatever liquid you're using, and then if it's too wet, you'll add in a little bit more flour to get a really good consistency. Now, this dough, it might be one of my new favorites for dumplings. It had a wonderful consistency, so I really liked it, and it was very easy, and my kids, they don't always love dumplings, but they did love these. So I have the dough prepared. I added flour to the top of it, and I'm going to roll it out. I will show you in a second the rolling pin that I'm using. It's brand new. Well, to me, it's brand new to me. My mother-in-law ended up getting it at a sale. It's a KitchenAid, but it is super heavy, and I was almost shocked when I started using it because it is like no other rolling pin I've had. I think the heaviness of it made it so much easier to roll out the dough, so I was pretty excited. She gifted me this when we went and visited her in Illinois, and I was super excited to use it, and it works so well. Dumplings are very much of a preference thing, so if you like them thicker or thinner, roll them out however you want, and I'm just kind of cutting them in random-ish squares. I'm not being precise in any way, but if that is not your jam and you want to be precise, by all means do whatever you feel necessary. I know that people, they like dumplings different ways, but this ended up being the perfect quantity for my family. I had the soup simmering on the stove while I was making the dumplings, and then I brought it to a boil before I dropped the dumplings in, and I did them in batches of like 3 to 5 and gave them a good stir before I added any others. Then after I got all the dumplings into the pot, I lowered the temperature on the stove and I let them slowly cook for about 30 minutes to an hour. You probably don't need an hour or even really 30 minutes because it was pretty much all done, but I had quite a bit of time, so I let them slowly cook a little longer, but it was a really delicious dinner, and I just served it just like that. I didn't do any other sides or anything. It was quite an easy meal, and it was really good for not going grocery shopping, basically.
Crowded places, feel it sinking in. Lonely faces, say you need a friend. No matter the distance, I will.
And here is how dinner turned out. Like I said, I did not serve any sides or anything like that, and it was still a wonderful, filling meal. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in another video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!